it's Jen from Windrose Fiber Studio. I had a viewer ask me if I would film a close-up of how to do an invisible finish off. So of course I said yes, and that's what we're doing today. I've crocheted just a basic round shape to give us a piece of fabric to work on. This is just a round of double crochets, and now we want to finish it off. And by finish off, I mean we want to attach the last stitch in the round to the first stitch in the round, which in this case is a beginning chain 3. Now if we want to do this with an invisible finish off, here's how we're going to make that happen. So I've finished my work, so I'm going to go ahead and cut my working yarn. And instead of doing any kind of a knot, I'm just going to be pulling that through the last stitch. So you can see this last double crochet is right here, and my working yarn is now right here. I'm going to thread this on to a yarn needle. This one has a little bent end, which makes it nice and easy to work under stitches, and a large eye, making it very easy to thread this bulky yarn that I'm using today. To do an invisible finish off, we're going to skip the next stitch. So really my beginning chain 3 is acting as my first double crochet in this round, but when you do an invisible finish off, you skip the next one, which would be the top of this beginning chain 3, and I'm going to go into the next stitch. So I'm just going to go underneath both the front and the back loops of that stitch. And then I'm going to pull that working yarn through. I can go ahead and kind of pull a little bit to bring that yarn close. And to finish this off, I'm going to go back into that last double crochet. So here's my last double crochet. Here's the top of that stitch. Here's the front loop and back loop. And I'm actually going to go in between these two loops. And if you look at the back of the stitch, there is a piece of yarn right behind that back loop. You can see that on every single stitch. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go in between the front and back loop and also underneath this piece of yarn, this little loop right behind it. So you can see that I've put the needle between the front and back loop of that stitch and underneath that little loop of yarn just below the back loop. And now I can pull this through, and what happens, and I'm going to pull it through slowly so you can see what's happening here, is that it just forms the shape of another stitch. So you can see it looks just like, here's our finish off, and here's the stitch before it and the stitch after it. We skipped over the beginning chain 3 so that our stitch count stays the same. Because this basically creates another stitch, we want to skip one stitch so that our stitch count is correct. So you can see what a nice clean finish that is, what a nice round shape we have here. So, and then if we wanted to finish off this yarn, you could go ahead and weave in that loose end. So there we are, the invisible finish off. Such a lovely way to finish off a round. Spinning the circle around, all of the stitches look nice and even, and unless you turn the work over, you can't even really see where that last stitch was placed. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you next time.